Good morning, Nashville, and happy Monday. At the time of this recording, over 33,000 NES customers were still without power. At Saturday's mayoral press conference, Mayor O'Connell announced a fifth potentially storm-related death. Here are the names of those we have lost so far here in Davidson County. Sharon Conyers, Amacio Martinez Oliveira, James Mitchell, Francis Pilkington, and Betty Doss. We are sending our love to their family members and friends. Dozens of people, including 49 children, have been treated locally for carbon monoxide poisoning, according to WPLN. TEMA Director Patrick Sheehan says they are urging Tennesseans to keep their generators at least 20 feet away from their home and to use a carbon monoxide detector. If you cannot afford or obtain a carbon monoxide detector, please call 211. Metro Nashville Public Schools are closed again today, February 2nd. According to a chart released by NES on Friday, power may be out until February 8th or 9th in some areas. Both the mayor and Metro Council have called for more information and accountability in the wake of this information. Mayor O'Connell says he will have more to share today about the accountability process. Water main breaks are expected to continue today. Metro Water says they are operationally staffed to handle these as they come. If you see a leak or a break, please call 615-862-4600. All those impacted by the storm and in need of assistance should continue to call 211 and fill out the form at nashvilleresponds.com. You should also document all damages. TEMA has also opened a survey to self-report damage to your homes. According to the mayor, the governor's expedited disaster declaration has been approved, and this should open the door for FEMA assistance. Although given the federal government's decision to gut FEMA in 2025, their capacity to help remains a question mark. The city launched a partnership with Airbnb to provide housing vouchers for those in need on Friday. Those vouchers are now gone. The city's warming shelters are still open, and many local hotels and Verbos are still offering discounts. Please visit our website at nashville.citycast.fm for more information on those programs and everything else we've discussed. The message from the mayor and Fire Chief Swan continues to be that if anybody has a need, move on to Plan B. Do not just sit at home in the cold, waiting and worrying, says Mayor O'Connell. We have seen so many of you asking for help on social media. We have seen you posting signs asking for help in your windows and on your mailboxes. We have information about shelters, warm meals, and a lot of other resources, including ways to donate and volunteer, on our website at nashville.citycast.fm. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us if you need anything, and we will do our best to connect you to the right people. The high temperature today is expected to be a balmy 42 degrees. We will get through this, Nashville. Please continue to take care of each other. And now, on with the show. Today on CityCast Nashville, if you've tried to get in and out of BNA lately, you know traffic to the airport has gone from annoying to, at times, total gridlock. But why does this keep happening, and what's actually being done about it? Nashville Scene reporter Lena Maisel joins us to break down the infrastructure plans in the works and what it'll really take to get people in and out of the airport without losing their minds. It's Monday, February 2nd. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. In your article for The Scene last month, you reported on the unprecedented traffic we saw at BNA on September 15th that led to total mayhem and gridlock getting in and out of BNA. Metro Nashville Airport Authority said it was caused by several concurrent factors. Lena, what were those factors and how on earth could they have been avoided?
So it was a few things happening at once. Obviously, there are a lot of people going in and out of the airport all the time these days. They're having increased traffic volumes. At the same time, there was also a crash on Terminal Drive, which was reported later by TDOT. There was also some work being done on the road, so there was milling and paving improvements. It was not, however, a riot. There were a lot of rumors that there was a riot. Those have not been substantiated. So I think it was a combination of all of those factors at once combining to create that really bad situation.
Was this just a communication breakdown?
I think it was just a really unfortunate series of events, but the airport has done some work post big traffic event to avoid this in the future. So they're kind of revisiting how they model traffic. They're working with the Tennessee Department of Transportation to clear crashes a little faster. And then they're making some larger changes too, like changing a bit of roadway design. But obviously that'll take a little bit more time.
And since September 15th, we've still seen some horrible gridlock, even without all those factors you've mentioned. BNA is projected to serve about 70,000 passengers a day this year, and most of them are getting to and from the airport by car. If you already know that, why does congestion at BNA keep catching the city and airport authority off guard?
I mean, I think that there is kind of a simple and large scale answer in a way, which is just that Nashville is growing faster than our roads are growing. We are in some ways still acting like a small city. I think people's assumption is that even though, there are more people coming in and out, we can still rely on kind of the same roads to work the same way, which can't happen because there are more cars. We need some large scale change, but a lot of that change just has to happen slowly because of the way infrastructure works, with getting, approval from the government and then the actual construction taking a long time. I think the Choose How You Move initiative with increased bus service is a great start. It's just going to take a little bit of time now to see the effects of all those good changes actually happening.
How does our airport traffic compare to the airports in other mid-sized U.S. cities?
I think that's one of the really interesting things that I found when I was kind of digging into the research for this story. So there are kind of two ways that traffic in general, but in this case, airport traffic, can work really well. The first way is if a city basically has too much infrastructure for the population. So this can happen when a population decreases, kind of known as urban decline. An example is like Cleveland, Ohio. It has pretty much the same infrastructure as the 1950s with 1/3 of the population. You can kind of feel this in a mid-sized city. It's really, really easy to get from place to place. The second way is to have really good public transit. So some other cities that are slightly comparable to Nashville, like Denver has a train, San Francisco has a train, Atlanta has pretty good connectivity. A lot of cities have express bus lanes that are dedicated to kind of bypass traffic. I think Nashville, in my mind, is not going to get smaller. So it's not going to take kind of the Cleveland option and suddenly have a huge population decrease. We just need better transit. We need to take option 2 of having, more bus connectivity, maybe a train in the future. I don't know.
A train. Girl,
wouldn't that be amazing?
It'd be truly unbelievable. So every time this happens, though, the airport authorities' response is, we just couldn't have seen it coming. Oh, gosh, it was so hard. But they literally have one job, and that's to get people in and out of the airport. At what point does this stop being unexpected and start being a failure in planning?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's a really complicated puzzle because it all takes money, time, and public approval. So they do have improvements, traffic improvements coming, but the pressure on the roads is also happening. From a language standpoint, I think it is interesting because a lot of times you keep hearing unprecedented, but if something keeps happening over and over again, to me, it's a little bit difficult to call it unprecedented. So I think they are taking steps to address that. It's just that these steps, because they involve so many different parts of the city, can sometimes take a bit of time.
Yeah. So what are some of those concrete steps?
The Tennessee Department of Transportation is building a new Donaldson Pike interchange. The mayor's Choose How You Move initiative is also increasing bus service, all over the city, but including to the airport. When I spoke to the mayor's office for this story, they said that airport access is a significant priority for the administration, and they're currently in talks with the airport about it. I didn't really get into too many specifics past that, but it does sound like it's something that they are really prioritizing. And then the airport itself did a pretty substantial proposal in response to the incident in September. So they're currently working on their traffic response, especially when incidents do happen. The Tennessee Department of Transportation will work with them to clear roads and divert traffic, basically avoid situations like what happened on September 15th.
So in your article, you wrote about BNA Vision and New Horizon. Can you walk us through those?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to do it a bit like high level just because a lot has happened in both of those plans. BNA Vision was 2017 to 2024. It was $1.5 billion investment. It was bigger concourses, international arrivals building. There was a new ground transportation level layout. And I believe this is when the carpet left as well, that famous BNA carpet.
R.I.P.
I know. New Horizon is their next phase, so that's what we're in now. They're building some bigger concourses, but also there are some transit improvements. So there are going to be better terminal roadways, a lot more parking. This one is an investment of $3 billion with over $300 million dedicated for roadway improvements. And that's running from 2024 to 2029.
Do we know anything about the cell phone lot?
Ooh, I don't know off the top of my head about that one. I will say that there is improved, definitely more parking for everyone, employees and just people going to the airport.
Travelers have also seen a lot of changes to the rideshare system. Who came up with those, and are they actually making a difference?
The biggest change, which was part of the airport's plan, is that there isn't curbside drop-off anymore for rideshare. It's now all in the transportation center, which is about a 10-minute walk from the terminal. That went into effect officially in June. The airport has said that this will make things more efficient. I don't know if it's making a huge difference, but logically it seems like it would, just because it's going to put it all in one place. It's going to kind of ease pressure on where the ride shares were. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have like any modeling or anything to see whether that's made a difference.
Do we know how the local rideshare drivers feel about this? Are they happier now? Or because I think I saw last year they were pretty vocally upset about the way they were being treated at BNA.
Yeah, I think that would be something that'd be really interesting to look at, because I think in official communications, obviously, it said it's made things easier for rideshare drivers and it will potentially help them, give more rides because it's more efficient. But I don't know for sure. I have seen some passengers were angry about walking. That was the thing that I've seen about the change, but that might be different in a little while when people get used to it.
What transit options are actually on the table right now besides Elon Musk's Tesla tunnels, which we learned in a conversation recently with David Figler from Vegas, are not actually a form of mass transit?
Interesting. To my knowledge, there are kind of three ways you could get out of the airport and to wherever you're going. You could drive yourself in your own car or a rental. You could ride share, or you could take the bus. All of those at the moment have the potential to get stuck in the same traffic, which is obviously what all of this is trying to combat. The airport, not to go back to the train thing, does actually have the capacity to have a train or light rail in the future. Now, obviously, that would take a huge investment and a lot of public pressure that I don't know will happen. But technically, the airport does actually have that infrastructure in place.
It just is so frustrating that we're debating Tesla tunnels and when there could be the option possibly of a light rail.
Yeah. But yeah, right now it's driving, rideshare, bus.
And then we spoke a little bit earlier about how the mayor's office is responding to this. What has been his response beyond just pointing at the changes that will come someday thanks to Choose How You Move?
I think they're currently in talks with BNA. They didn't give me any major specifics for this story, but obviously transit is a huge priority for them, including increased bus service. I think they also pointed out that if we ever did get an express bus lane from the airport to anywhere else, that would need state approval. So that would be probably a longer project.
Metro Council member Sean Parker has suggested increased bus frequency and a dedicated bus lane would get people downtown faster. Would they approve an express bus if they're currently trying to pass the Boring Company's agenda?
I mean, I can't give a really informed take on this, but my initial take is that I kind of doubt it. I think especially with the Boring Company tunnel, it just doesn't seem like there's a big incentive for them to, pay into another form of infrastructure in addition to that. It seems like a shame to me because it's something that is already there. And I think a lot of people really would use it, particularly if it was, a dedicated lane that was very visibly and obviously faster than the traffic that people would sit in otherwise.
Well, do you have a favorite airport to get in and out of, and why? You mentioned Denver and their train. I love flying into, personally, LaGuardia, New York, has tremendously improved, and it's so easy to catch a car or take the bus to the train, that's what I personally do. It's just so easy. Also, I will say, when I was in Tokyo, it was just it was flawless. I get a little passionate about trains, especially outside of the US. What's your favorite?
I'm jealous that you've gone in and out of Tokyo, because that sounds amazing. I think I've got one that's probably a hot take. I have a real love-hate relationship with Newark Airport, actually.
Oh, okay. I fly in and out of Newark a lot. Okay.
It is sometimes a nightmare using the public transport between Newark and Manhattan. I've got some family in New York, so I do it like a fair amount. Mm-hmm. But they have a train that's a double-decker train. And I think it's the only one of its kind like that model in the US. This is going to come off so nerdy, but it's a really interesting train design. So when it works and it's not an absolute nightmare because of cancellations and everything, that is a fun way to get from Newark Airport to Manhattan.
I took that beautiful double-decker train last summer when I saw Beyonce. It's beautiful, and it fits so many people, and it's always on. Well, it's not always on time, but yeah. I hear you. That's a great way to get around. Do you think that there is a connection between Nashville being largely focused on tourism and the chaos of the airport?
Yes, and that obviously we have so many people coming in and out now, so many more people than we used to. And those people, because they don't live here, are reliant usually on ride shares and that kind of form of transportation. So that makes it a little bit car-centric just by design. I think the way it's laid out right now, people assume that they're going to get in a car to get from the airport to somewhere else.
One thing that you don't think of, being in Nashville, the airport's like 12 minutes from my house. But the last time I flew back, the person sitting next to me lived, 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
And saw the cars and why the parking is so necessary also.
Yeah. And I think if those people, they take like a 1 or 2 hour trip, and then at the end of that, they suddenly have an unexpected 2-hour delay really close to the airport. That is very, very stressful.
So stressful. So frustrating. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, so maybe I know your answer to this next question, but if you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing about getting in and out of BNA, what would it be? And why do you think it hasn't happened yet?
Ooh, well, I mean, if I had a true magic wand, I think I would go back to when I first moved to Nashville in 2013, and you could genuinely park at the terminal. And I used to just like pop the trunk of my station wagon, just sit and wait for my friend to come back from a music festival. That is a real 2013 Nashville example. Nashville now, I think, unrealistically, it would be amazing if we had a train. But I think that dedicated bus lane otherwise is a really good idea. It would incentivize people to use the bus. It feels like a pretty minor change compared to something like a train or the tunnel. I don't know if it'll happen just because of, funding and public and state approval. But I think people kind of still have this idea, this implicit idea that you will be driving a rideshare to and from the airport because that's how it's done. But it doesn't have to be, how it's done. And I think if people saw that bus, they'd think about it more, and it would be a really easy win.
I would also just wave that wand for all the carpet to return.
Yes. Yes.
In your conversations with the airport authority, do you get the sense that there is any urgency around their infrastructure plans? There's not a version of this where people could just stop using the airport. So how can Nashvillians keep the pressure on them?
So they have set a deadline for TDOT to complete the Donaldson Pike interchange, which is going to really ease a lot of that traffic. They've set that deadline for August 2027, and they have various incentives for TDOT to complete that on time. So I think there's pressure in that sense. And they do have, milestones within their plan. I think it's just, as with anything, we need to keep showing up at council meetings, write letters, do all those things that a lot of people in Nashville do really well, which is just keep the public pressure on, say, this is a priority for me, what's happening with this, and speak to your representatives about it.
Sean Parker is my council member, so it's been really gratifying to know that he's speaking out about this sort of thing. So, Sean, if you're listening, thank you. Looking ahead 5 years, what would success look like for airport access, and what milestones should Nashvillians expect to see if plans stay on track?
Great question. So I think success obviously would look like less traffic, fewer or no unprecedented incidents, but then also good response when those incidents do occur, which I know TDOT has been doing really good work with that in terms of how they are responding to those incidents around the airport and elsewhere. I'd also say, it'd be great if people have options and all of those options are good. So if you want to drive, then that drive is easy. If you want to take that bus is frequent and easy to find, easy to get to. Or if you want to ride share, again, you won't be stuck in traffic. Basically, lots of options, none of which are infuriating, would be great.
So then, what would failure look like?
I think failure would just be if the growth of people coming in and out of the airport increases and nothing happens, because we can't really sustain more people coming in and out with nothing. And I don't think that is going to happen. I think there are a couple key milestones. There's August 2027, when that's kind of the deadline to complete the Donaldson Pike interchange right now. And then in the airport's plan, they said the terminal roadways will be finished in 2029. So again, hopefully that will avoid major gridlock all the time, which if more and more people are coming in and the roads stay the same, that could happen. But the roads are not staying the same. So hopefully that's going to ease a lot of the pressure.
So we should find comfort in knowing when you do approach BNA, there's a lot of construction going on, but it's because August 2027 seems far away, but hopefully we'll just breathe through it and have all these wonderful options for us in the next decade, maybe? Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully. I
Fingers
think
crossed.
With infrastructure in general, I think success looks like more people using it, but we don't even notice. So, if the infrastructure grows at the same pace as the city does, then it's not even a conversation. Now, that's something that's really difficult to do. But if it happens, in a way, it's kind of thankless for the people making it, because it's pretty much invisible.
Oh, that's such a good point. Well, Lena, thank you so much for your article. Thank you for being on the beat. Again, we'll breathe through it. We're going to get these things, hopefully, but just contact your council members and stay involved. So thank you again, Lena.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been great being back on.
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Nashville neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!